All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever had one of those days where you just feel off? You know what I mean? You're not really sad, you're not angry, just kind of blah, empty. And you try the usual stuff, right? You scroll your phone, you put on some music, but nothing seems to shake it. It's a super frustrating feeling. Well, today we're going to get into exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to fix it, fast.
And that's when you start asking yourself this question, right? Why can't I just feel good? For no reason at all. It feels like happiness should be our default setting, but man, a lot of the time it just isn't. The answer, it turns out, has everything to do with the ancient wiring of your brain, and it's probably not what you're thinking.
But what if I told you that you could literally flip a switch in your brain and feel happier in just 15 seconds? I'm serious. And look, this isn't about that just think positive stuff or trying to psych yourself up. We're talking about simple, science-backed tricks that work with your brain's chemistry to give you an instant lift. So I've got 3 of these tricks for you today, but you're gonna wanna stick around for the third one. I mean it. It is by far the most powerful. It's the one that can actually start to rewire how your brain handles stress for good. So stay with me because this last one is a real game changer.
Okay, so here's the most important thing you need to understand. Your brain was not designed to make you happy. Nope, its #1 job, its absolute top priority, is to react fast and keep you safe. Your happiness? That's like priority number 257. But once you get that your brain is just a super fast reaction machine, you suddenly have the power to interrupt its old negative patterns.
All right, let's get into our first trick. This one is called face feedback, and the idea here is so cool. See, we think our brain tells our face how to feel, but it's actually a two-way street. Your brain is constantly checking in with your body, especially your face, for clues on how it's supposed to feel.
In fact, let's try this right now, wherever you are. First, just gently raise your eyebrows a tiny bit. Then, let your jaw go slack, unclench it. And finally, let the corners of your mouth lift just slightly. Not a big fake grin, just a relaxed, neutral expression. Now hold that for about 15 seconds. What you're doing is sending a physical signal, a little message, straight to your brain that says, hey, everything's cool down here, we're safe.
And that's the whole secret. We spend our lives waiting to feel good before we'll let ourselves smile. But your brain actually loves to work in reverse. When you change the physical signal first, the emotion has no choice but to follow. You're not faking it, you're activating it. It's a direct shortcut to shifting your emotional state.
Okay, so that's great for your body. But what about when your mind is just going? You know, that hamster wheel of worry, replaying some mistake over and over. That's where our second trick comes in, and it's called Name It to Tame It.
This is so simple you might think it's silly, but trust me, it's neuroscience. The second you feel a wave of anxiety or anger or whatever, just put a label on it. Literally say to yourself, okay, I'm feeling stressed, or this is frustration. That's it. In that tiny moment, the simple act of naming it pulls the emergency brake on the emotional, reactive part of your brain and hands the steering wheel over to the calm, logical part.
Think of it like this. When you're swept up in a bad mood, it's like you're caught outside in a thunderstorm, just getting drenched. But the moment you name it, this is anxiety. It's like you've stepped inside a warm, dry house. You can still see the storm raging outside the window, but you're not in it anymore. You're watching it. And that little bit of distance takes away almost all of its power.
And that brings us to the big one, trick number 3. The one I promised you is the most powerful. It's called the micro-win. And this little trick hacks the way your brain releases one of the most important chemicals for happiness, dopamine.
So we've got this idea completely backwards. We think we'll get that big dopamine rush of happiness when we finally achieve some huge goal. But here's what the science actually shows. Your brain releases even more dopamine when it simply recognizes you're making progress. It's the feeling of moving forward, not just crossing the finish line, that your brain is wired to reward. And that's why we can feel so empty while we're chasing those big dreams. So, how do we use this? With a micro-win. I want you to pick one of these super small actions and do it right now. Just one. Sit up a little straighter. Take one single slow breath. Or take a sip of water. Go on. By doing that, you just created a moment of forward progress, and your brain just thanked you with a little hit of dopamine. That's it. That little boost improves your mood, your focus, and your motivation instantly. So, now we have these 3 incredible switches we can flip anytime we want. But the real magic, the part that can change your whole day, is when you put them all together in a super fast 1-minute routine. Let me show you how it works. So picture this. You're starting to feel that downward spiral.
Instead of letting it take over, you do this. 1. Signal safety to your body with the face feedback trick. 2. You step out of the storm by naming the emotion. And 3. You get a hit of dopamine by creating a micro win. Boom, boom, boom. In less than a minute, you have actively calmed your nervous system and changed your brain chemistry. Now that is control.
And if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. Happiness isn't some treasure you have to go out and find. It's not a prize you earn after years of hard work. It's a state you can learn to activate. The wiring is already there inside your brain. You just learned how to find the switches. So the next time you feel stuck or overwhelmed or just off, you'll know what to do. You don't have to wait around for things to get better to feel better. The power is right there inside you, ready to go. The only real question left is, what switch will you flip first?